Hello, Jeanette here, just to talk about Waking the Tiger by Peter Levine. I have to say I really enjoyed the book, and I'm not a great reader, and so I found it very slow, very hard going, and in the end I went to listening to it, which was actually great to hear then what I had read, and then carry on with the rest as listening books. So yeah, I found that a really beneficial way of also just re-going over what I'd read and relearning. I love how he splits the book up into different chapters to talk about different things. And one of my favourites was when he spoke about the tree that was wounded, and how it was able to heal and carry on growing, even though it had wounds. And it's amazing, us humans, how we have our wounds and we grow, but perhaps not as well as perhaps we might think we are or should, until we actually address, trauma and start to heal and come to peace with what's happened to us in the past. But I really love that metaphor where we can actually find the resources that we have within us that we don't realise. And also, although we're meant to be very advanced, it's amazing, isn't it, how we are still very primitive, really, going back to those cavemen days. And if only we were like the gazelle or the zebra that could be chased by the tiger, literally, carried in its mouth and play dead and hope that it might just leave us on the side for dead. And when we sense that the danger is gone, that we can wake up and shake it off and hop off. If only we could actually do that better in our own lives. And it did make me wonder whether perhaps as families and children that come the end of the day, that we talk about what's happened, whether it be good, bad or indifferent, and maybe dance and sing and jump around and let that energy go, shake it up, and whether or not we would actually be able to allow that trauma through that we may not have even known that we've held. Because I'm sure there's been many of us that have gone to bed at night and woken up where we can't dream out what we can metaphorically, and it's woken us up because of the amount of energy that it takes. Or where we've said, oh God, I had a dream last night, and you were in it, but you were somewhere else. So all this metaphor, things that we carry. So I absolutely loved that. And I've got a few notes here. Yeah, just sort of saying, how we get stuck. I also liked the story, although it's obviously true, but where the little girl was having night terrors, having been into hospital, and that wasn't processed. And how many of us are going to hospital every day, especially children, and not processing, not understanding, where we're too young to ask, to say that we're scared or we don't understand, or we're not comforting one another enough in those moments, and trauma is laid down. And as we're so often, as parents, we think, oh, we'll take the children to the park or take them for a treat. But that just smothers over it, doesn't it? And it's not processed. And so talking, stroking, touching, patting is probably needed now more than it's ever been in this fast moving world. So yeah, it's been a good book to read, a lot of learning, and I've got a shocking memory, as Sarah would probably bear out when she played a record to me the other week, which I heard her saying, I don't know how many times, I couldn't remember at the end. But yeah, it's been a good book, as I said. Waking the Tiger just reminded me, really it doesn't have to be a life sentence, but it's when we are to some extent brave enough or broken enough that we finally realise that we're ready to put our face to the wind and smell the air and and do the work, and allow ourselves to process those moments in time of trauma, when we were stuck, when we were frozen. And as we say through the breath work, you know, the waterfalls, you know, those tears when they were frozen, and the felt sense and the feelings. And as I say, I like how this was all addressed in the book. So I'm going to leave it there, otherwise I will be waffling on. So thank you so much, and I hope you all enjoyed your reading, and I look forward to hearing your comments. Thanks. Bye.